Hey everyone, Gabe here from TeamGenius. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create an in-season evaluation so you can evaluate your players and give feedback or keep that data internally. First step, you'll want to navigate to the Create New page where you can find a template to help you get started quickly. Most sports will have an in-season evaluation template you can choose from, and in this case, I'll just start with the soccer in-season 4 pillars. Within that template, you will see a preview of what criteria you can score the athletes on and further customize once you do get into your assessment. Our assessment builder will help navigate you through the process of creating your assessment and ask you a series of questions like the name of the assessment. Most organizations will call this the year, the season, and the type of evaluation. If you only plan to evaluate your players once throughout the season, you can leave that as a single day evaluation. Otherwise, you can choose multi-day and select however many times you plan to score your players throughout the season. If you want to capture a profile picture of your players that will attach to the feedback report, you can leave this selected. And most of the time, check-in is not applicable to in-season evaluations, so you can turn that off. Once you're in your assessment, you'll see a list of to-dos, and 3 of those to-dos will be complete if you do start with a template. But regardless, you're going to want to go back through setup just to make sure that your evaluation is set up correctly. Starting with scoring forms, you can further customize those criteria that were in the template that you chose. To customize your criteria, you can either click on the criteria name to change the display name. You can also delete, clone, or rearrange those criteria, and there's no limit to the amount of criteria that you can have within your assessment. If you'd like to change the scoring format, you can either click on your scoring form at the top. This is where you could change a scoring form to be quantitative to capture speed or timing or repetition drills, or you could change it to a scale of, let's say, 0 to 10 with full point increments. Many organizations also prefer to use a drop-down list or button group to score their players in season rather than the slider scale that would be standard in your assessment. If you choose to go with the button group or drop-down list, you can easily add your choices starting from worst to best. That might look something like excellent, average, or poor, or that could be more similar to a report card labeled A, B, C, D, and F. Regardless, you get to customize this part of the system. Next, we'll move to evaluation schedule. And this is where you'll customize the different names of the evaluations your coaches will complete. By clicking edit on the left side of each session, you can customize the name. You can add a start and end date so that that session does close outside of those 2 dates. And you also get to select which scoring form and which teams, which player pools, are going to be scored in this session. Next, you'll want to move to players and add players. If you use TeamGenius to form teams in a tryout assessment, you'll be able to add players from TeamGenius teams. If you have your teams formed in SportsEngine or TeamSnap or League Apps, you can click on one of those 3 options to import your teams with players assigned to their team. Today, I'll take you through a CSV file import because that is most standard for organizations. When importing a CSV file, you'll always want to make sure to include first name, last name, and birth date. And if you plan to send emails from the system, you'll also want to include email. You can also feel free to include any additional columns that might make sense to keep in TeamGenius. Once you have your CSV file loaded, you can click Continue, and the system will try its best to map these fields correctly. In this case, it looks like everything was mapped correctly. And for in-season evaluations, you'll want to find the column for team and map that to player pool. In this case, I'm not going to import eval group or player number. And once you do have all of these fields mapped correctly, you can click Use these mappings in the top right. You'll then see an overview of your data. The system will analyze the data, and in this case, the data looks good. There's no warning to speak of, so we can then click Save Players. You can feel free to navigate away from this screen while this is loading, and let's go up to Teams and Manage Coaches. To create a coach, you'll just click the Create Coach button, and you can type in their first name, last name, and email. Don't worry about assigning teams, that's more so for a tryout assessment. If you do have more than 20 coaches, I would recommend using the Import Coaches function. You can find a sample file here and just make sure that your CSV file matches what's in this sample file, and you can upload your coaches very easily in that way. Once you have all of your coaches loaded, you can go back into your in-season evaluation assessment. We'll navigate to Players and Import History to check on the import, and it looks like that import did finish up. We can now go back to Setup and navigate to Player Pools. And now, as long as you did import a player pool for each player, those player pools will be created for you. And again, those player pools should be your teams. If you'd like to adjust the names or create a new player pool to assign players to, you can very easily do that in the top right, or click into each player pool to further edit. On this player pools page, you can also see you're able to assign a coach to the team and give them a title. For example, maybe they're the head coach or assistant coach or goalie coach. So you'll want to go through and assign coaches to each of their teams. Once you have your coaches assigned to their team, you can navigate down to Evaluation, Assign Coaches. And on this page, you'll see a list of your coaches with the team that they've been assigned to and the different evaluations that you have created. To assign a coach an evaluation, you'll want to check the box to the right of their name and below the proper assessment. And to assign that evaluation session to each coach, you'll want to click into the email icon at the top. You'll then see the notice that those coaches have been assigned to the beginning of season evaluation, and so they will receive an email with instructions for their assignment. If you'd rather just assign one coach an evaluation, you can click on the email icon to the left of their name. Once you've assigned your coaches their sessions, you can click into assignment status on the left side to see what percentage of the evaluation they've complete. While you wait for your coaches to complete their evaluation, it might be beneficial to go to Settings, Organization Profile, and select a primary and secondary color for your organization. What that will do is custom brand the reports that you send to your players. After your coaches complete their evaluation, you can navigate to the Results page to analyze scores, look at overall results, generate individual evaluation reports you can send out, and you are able to customize those reports and decide what they will include. These reports will have a link that you're able to pass along to parents. And if you'd like to send those reports out in bulk, you can navigate to Messaging, Send Emails, select the teams whose evaluations have been complete, check the Select All button, click at the top that you want to include reports, decide which sessions you want to include scores from, and at the bottom you'll want to click Create Message. On this page, you can then select from a template that you have created. There should be a few in your account by default, and you can then use personalization tokens at the bottom to customize that email so that they only see their own report, as well as first name and anything else you can find under those personalization tokens. At the top, you can see a list of the players that report will go out to. At the bottom, you can then customize that report just like you saw before. And before sending all of these emails out, I always recommend that people send a test message to themselves. You can then click Send Message, and all of these reports will go out to the players. One thing to be sure of is that you have the personalization token athlete report link included in that email. If you need to print off reports in bulk, you can go down to Reports and find many different reports on this page. And if you have any questions about anything that I explained in this video, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much. Have a great day.